This note changed everything. Just a torn piece of paper waiting on the kitchen table beside cold leftovers and a flickering Christmas tree. I thought I was coming home to family. Instead, I came home to silence and betrayal written in black ink. We used your $8,500 for the family cruise. Take care of Grandma. No sorry, no shame, just orders. Grandma looked up from her plate, her voice trembling but calm. We'll fix this. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just flattened the note with my hand and whispered to myself, they have no idea what's already coming. People think betrayal comes with shouting doors, slamming plates, breaking someone, storming off into the night. Mine came wrapped in silence under the soft buzz of Christmas lights. Grandma kept eating slow and careful, the metal fork scraping the plate like a metronome for everything I was trying not to feel. Her sweater smelled faintly of lavender and dust. She looked smaller than I remembered, like the air had thinned around her. I sat down across from her, the note still on the table between us. Did they at least call, I asked. She shook her head. Left yesterday morning, said the ship wouldn't wait. Her voice cracked on ship. It hit me then, the timeline. They'd taken my money days ago and never planned to tell me, not even a message. All those years of being the reliable one, the responsible one, the one who never said no because family came first. I was the savings account with a heartbeat. I looked around the kitchen, trying to find any trace of them. Half-empty wine glasses, a lipstick mark on a mug, a paper ornament I'd made when I was 12 still hanging lopsided on the tree. It wasn't just quiet, it was abandoned. Grandma cleared her throat. You shouldn't waste your anger on them, sweetheart. I'm not angry, I lied. Just surprised. But anger was already crawling up my throat, hot and sharp. She pushed a small envelope toward me. They told me not to worry about groceries. Said you'd handle it. Inside were receipts, gas stations, online, orders, restaurant tabs, all charged to her card. I stared at them until the numbers blurred. They used your pension, too. Her eyes darted away. Just for a while. Your mother said she'd put it back. I wanted to scream, but the sound wouldn't come. Instead, I folded the receipts, lined them up beside the note. Patterns, evidence, motive. My brain was already switching modes from hurt to analysis. Grandma must have sensed it. Don't do anything foolish. I won't. I said, though, the word foolish tasted wrong, because this time I wasn't the fool. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house creaked like it remembered too much. I kept replaying every moment I'd said yes when I should have said no, the tuition loan for Liam's kid, the emergency fund for Maya's car trouble, the bail money for Dad's gambling debt. Each memory clicked into place like a lock turning. At 2 a.m., I opened my laptop. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart pounding. If they'd used my money for their cruise, I wanted to know how deep the hole went. I started with Grandma's bank. The login still saved under family. Transactions blinked across the screen, withdrawals, transfers, payments to names I recognized, and some I didn't. Every click peeled back another layer of the lie. By dawn, the anger wasn't burning anymore. It was cold, focused. Next to me, Grandma stirred awake and whispered, "You're still up." I nodded, eyes fixed on the screen. "Go back to sleep, Grandma," I said softly. "We'll fix this our way." Morning light crawled across the kitchen tiles, turning the mess of papers on the table into a battlefield. Statements, receipts, withdrawals, all signed with the same careless handwriting my mother's. I should have felt broken. Instead, I felt awake, the kind of awake that burns through exhaustion. Grandma shuffled in her slippers, whispering against the floor. "You didn't sleep," she said. I shrugged. Didn't need to. She watched as I drew lines between transactions, circling names, matching dates. "You used to love puzzles," she said softly. "This one's overdue," I replied. Every few minutes, I'd find something new, a Venmo transfer to Maya labeled utilities that matched a Sephora order, a cash withdrawal on the same day Dad lost at poker night, a payment to a cruise line weeks before Christmas. The math was sickeningly neat. Grandma sat beside me. "They think you'll forgive them. You always do." I looked up. "Do you?" She hesitated. "I used to. Not anymore." For a moment, we just sat there, two women from different generations bound by the same disappointment. When I opened the family group chat, I already knew what I'd find: silence. The last message was from Mom. "Transfer the loan soon. We need to book before prices go up. No please, no thank you, just assumption." I stared at her words until the screen dimmed. Then I typed a single period and sent it. A punctuation mark for the end of my patience. The next day I called my mother's number, straight to voicemail. The recording chirped, cheerful and hollow, "Hi, you've reached Rachel. Leave something worth listening to." I hung up. That evening, Grandma brought out an old ledger, her handwriting careful and looping. "These are my pension deposits," she said. "Start with 2016. My breath caught. "That's when she took your login." She nodded, lips pressed thin. I told myself it was temporary. But the temporary things always last the longest, don't they? We worked until our eyes burned. When I finally leaned back, the numbers told a story clearer than words ever could. 10 years of small thefts dressed up as love. I felt something shift inside me, a quiet click like a lock sliding open. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to document everything. Grandma squeezed my hand. "What are you thinking, sweetheart?" I met her gaze. "That they picked the wrong person to underestimate." She smiled faintly. "We'll fix this." "Yeah," I said, "but this time we'll fix it right." As the clock ticked past midnight, I created a folder on my laptop labeled Proof. Inside it, I began to build my case screenshots, transfers, every message that once made me feel guilty, now refiled as evidence. For the first time, guilt wasn't mine to carry. And somewhere in that silence between the hum of the fridge and the tapping of my keys, I realized something: they hadn't just stolen money. They'd handed me every tool I needed to end this story my way. By the fourth day, the house didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt like a war room. The kitchen table was covered in rows of printed statements, each one held down by a mug or a spoon so the heater wouldn't blow them away. Grandma called it organized fury. Outside, snow had buried the mailbox. Inside, I buried the last trace of guilt. I'd spent the past 3 nights tracing every payment: cruise deposits, jewelry orders, a home improvement loan that went straight into Maya's checking account, every dollar of mine and half of Grandma's repurposed for their good time. That morning, I opened my laptop and dialed a number I never thought I would. Natalie Shaw, an attorney I'd driven for once during an Uber shift. She'd left a business card on my seat: Elder Financial Abuse Specialist. Back then, it was just a name. Now it was oxygen. When she answered, her voice was calm and clipped. "Natalie Shaw." "Hi. You probably don't remember me, but I do," she said quickly. "You're the driver who refused to charge me extra when my flight was delayed." "That's me," I said, exhaling. "I think I need your help." She didn't waste time. "Tell me everything." By the end of the call, I had an email address, a checklist, and a plan. Natalie's voice stayed steady through my shaking. "This isn't a family misunderstanding, Tegan. It's a felony. But we'll keep it quiet for now. Let them come back first." When I hung up, Grandma was watching from the hallway. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes glimmered with something between pride and fear. "You called a lawyer," she said. "I called protection," I corrected. The next hours were methodical. I scanned receipts labeled folders, transfers, cruise payments, luxury purchases, evidence of neglect. Every file I renamed felt like reclaiming a breath. At noon, Grandma shuffled in with 2 mugs of instant coffee. "You're shaking," she said. "I'm fine." "No," she said, sliding a mug toward me. "You're focused. There's a difference." Her calm steadied me. I took a sip, then pulled out my phone. Maya had posted again her Liam mom and dad lounging on the cruise deck, champagne glasses raised. The caption read, "Finally some peace, away from all the negativity. Family only." "Negativity?" I repeated out loud. "That's what they call me now." Grandma peered at the screen, jaw tightening. "They'll choke on that piece soon enough." We laughed soft, brittle laughter, but it was the first time I'd heard her laugh in months. That night, I backed up everything to an external drive and hid it inside the pocket of Grandma's old winter coat. If the house burned down, I'd still have proof. Natalie emailed me a simple phrase: "Control the narrative before they do." It became my mantra. I cleaned the house, not for them, but for me. took down the blinking lights, tossed the wilted poinsettias, packed away the ornaments. Each act of cleaning felt like erasing their fingerprints from my life. The night before their return, Grandma sat in her recliner, the TV playing some Hallmark rerun. "Do you think they'll even feel bad?" I asked. She didn't look away from the screen. "Guilt's a luxury, sweetheart. They spent theirs a long time ago." Outside, snow fell thicker, quiet, and merciless. I imagined them coming home, laughing loud, dragging their suitcases over the same floor they left covered in crumbs and lies. I pictured the moment they'd see me sitting there waiting. Before bed, I drafted an email titled, "Formal Report Elder Financial Abuse." I attached the documents, wrote the summary, then saved it as a draft. Not yet sent, but ready. That was my peace, knowing I could detonate it any time. As I turned off the light, Grandma's voice floated down the hallway. "Remember what I said that night?" she called. "Which part will fix this?" I smiled into the dark. "Yeah, tomorrow we start." The next morning, sunlight spilled across the living room, too bright, too clean. I made breakfast, brewed coffee, set the table, everything exactly as it should have been on Christmas Day. A quiet stage for a loud reckoning. Then came the sound I'd been waiting for, tires crunching on ice doors, slamming laughter echoing through the front yard. Their voices the same ones that once made me flinch, now just noise. I straightened my sweater, glanced at Grandma. She nodded once. The front door swung open. They were home. And this time I was ready. The front door swung open with that old familiar squeal. The sound used to make me happy back when it meant family coming home. Now it just meant the storm had arrived. "Couldn't you at least shovel the driveway?" Mom's voice cut through the cold air before she even stepped inside. Rachel Harris, queen of calm cruelty, still in her sunglasses like she was allergic to reality. Dad followed, red-faced and bloated from buffet food, dragging 2 suitcases that looked heavier than his conscience. Behind them, Maya stumbled in her nails, perfect, her voice sharp. "God, it's freezing. You could have turned the heat up." Liam was last carrying himself like a man who believed no one could touch him. No one spoke to Grandma. They brushed past her like she was furniture. I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I found the note where this all began. My laptop was open. The screen glowed soft blue. "Welcome home," I said evenly. Mom froze when she saw me. "Tegan, you're still here," I smiled. "You told me to take care of Grandma." Maya laughed bitter. "Oh, come on. Don't be dramatic." Grandma, sitting quietly in her chair, didn't even look up. "I'm too old for dramatics," she murmured. I gestured toward the chairs. "Sit." They exchanged confused looks, but sat down, Rachel at the head, like always. I waited until the sound of their chairs scraping faded. Then I clicked play. The first file on the screen was a spreadsheet, rows of numbers, dates, payments, transfers from Grandma's pension, withdrawals from her account. The title at the top read, "Funds Misappropriated by Rachel Harris and Family." For a few seconds, no one spoke. Just the sound of the ceiling vent humming. Dad leaned forward, squinting. "What the hell is this?" "Your vacation itinerary," I said. Rachel's smile faltered. "Where did you get—" "From the same place you got my savings," I said. "Grandma's bank." I turned the page, screenshots of messages between Rachel and Maya. Rachel: "He won't notice the cruise deposit missing. He trusts us." Maya: "He's too soft. Plus, who leaves Grandma alone on Christmas anyway?" The color drained from Maya's face. You went through our phones." "No," I said. "You left your cloud backups unprotected. Turns out honesty isn't the only thing you're bad at securing." Liam slammed his hand on the table. "You can't just spy on your own family." Grandma's voice sliced through the room, calm and deadly. "You stopped being family when you started stealing from me." Silence. Heavy. Absolute. I clicked another file. This one was audio. Ava's voice trembled through the speakers. They said if Tegan didn't send the money, they'd just leave her and deal with it later. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. Liam shot up. "You recorded my wife." "She asked me to," I said. "Because she was done lying for you." Dad's chair scraped back as he stood. "You little snake. You've been digging into our accounts like someone who's tired of being robbed," I interrupted. "Yeah, exactly that." I opened the last file, a draft email already addressed to Natalie, the State Elder Protection Unit, and 2 local news outlets. The subject line read, "Formal complaint, elder financial abuse, supporting evidence attached." "You have 48 hours, I said quietly. "Return every cent, or I send this." Maya laughed a high brittle sound. "You wouldn't. You'd ruin your own family." "No," I said. "You did that when you traded love for leverage." Rachel's voice dropped low. "You think people will side with you? You've always been the dramatic one, Tegan. The victim." I looked at her, really looked at her, at the perfect hair, the false composure, the eyes that had always seen weakness where there was loyalty. "I'm not the victim," I said. "I'm the receipt." Dad opened his mouth, but Grandma spoke first. Her voice was rough but steady. "I raised 3 children," she said slowly. "Fed you, worked 2 jobs, and you left me with frozen beans and moldy pie while you sipped champagne on a ship I paid for. You're lucky it's her handling this, because if it were me—" Her words trailed off, but her eyes did the rest. Rachel tried to smile. "Mother, let's not—" "Don't you mother me," Grandma snapped, slamming her hand on the table so hard the sound cracked through the air. The shock of it made even Liam flinch. I pushed the envelope across the table. Inside, printed copies of every document, every message. "1 copy for you," I said, "and 1 for my attorney." No one moved. Then Grandma stood up. Her legs shook, but her voice didn't. "Get out," she said. "You can come back when you've made things right." Rachel blinked, stunned. "Mom? You can't mean that." "I mean it," Grandma said. "And don't come crying when your names hit the papers. Maybe then you'll understand what family really costs." They hesitated. Liam cursed under his breath. Maya began to cry, but no one apologized. When the door finally shut behind them, the silence that filled the house wasn't empty anymore, it was earned. 4 days later, they called, then texted, then begged. "We didn't mean it like that. We'll pay you back. Please don't do this." I didn't respond. I just forwarded everything to Natalie. That evening, the lawyer called. "They made payments," she said. "Full restitution plus penalties." I thanked her and hung up. Grandma was in her chair knitting quietly. "Was it worth it?" she asked. I looked at the folder still open on my laptop, my life neatly categorized. "It was overdue," I said. She smiled faintly. "They thought you were the soft one." I smiled back. They were right until they mistook soft for weak. Outside, snow began to fall again, covering the driveway they'd refused to shovel. And for the first time, it didn't look cold. It looked clean. It took less than a week for everything to unravel publicly. Rachel tried to spin the story online, called it a family misunderstanding, but screenshots spread faster than apologies. Maya's employer saw the headlines and quietly removed her from the team page. Liam's paycheck got garnished by court order, and his wife Ava finally moved out. But I didn't celebrate. I was too tired to. Justice doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like the air after a storm, clean but heavy. When the settlement came through, I transferred every cent of Grandma's money into a joint account she controlled. Then I used my part $3,000 for my long-delayed dental surgery. Another $2,000 went toward a motorized lift chair and a part-time nurse for Grandma. The rest stayed untouched, labeled future. We moved into a small apartment downtown, 2 bedrooms, sunlight spilling through thin curtains, the kind of quiet that doesn't ache. Every morning she'd hum while watering her plants. Every night we'd eat dinner at the same old table, no yelling, no guilt. One evening she looked at me and said, "You fixed it." I shook my head. No, we did. And for the first time, the word we didn't feel heavy, it felt like home. Weeks later, I ran into a woman at the grocery store. She looked at me for a long moment before asking, "You're the one who stood up for your grandmother, right?" I nodded, unsure what to say. She smiled softly. "My mother went through the same thing. I wish someone had fought for her the way you did." Then she walked away, leaving me standing there between the soup cans and the fluorescent hum, realizing something simple. This story was never just ours. Back home, Grandma was watching the snow outside our window. "Peace looks good on you," she said, and maybe she was right. The quiet wasn't empty anymore, it was earned. I turned to the camera, steady and calm. If you've ever had to protect someone you love from your own family, you're not alone. Share your story. And subscribe, because the truth deserves witnesses.